just the opening of this like traditional Japanese house.
Are there no bugs? I really have to know.
Listen, I hear about the cicadas all the goddamn time, and then just having an open house.
So,
are there no bugs?
Are there no bugs to worry about? Is my question. Welcome back to Boys Love, Boys Love. This week we are recapping My Beautiful Man Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2. As always, I'm Adam.
And I'm RJ. Welcome back to the Ruben Studdard portion of the show, because now we're in Season 2. Last week we finished Kelly Clarkson's era, and now we're in the Ruben. So I'm very excited.
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. I love that we just went right into Season 2.
I know.
I feel very satisfied.
I thought we were time jumping. We did kind of.
It's 2 years.
We're now closer to graduation of college.
Right.
Which when we started, I think we were like a sophomore in, right?
Here's the other thing I want to say. These two, if we were flashback to 2 years ago, when we recapped Cherry Magic, we did one episode at a time.
I know. We were crazy. I just went back to all of our podcast episodes because I re-uploaded a picture.
Missed Young Us.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it. That was the joke.
We were younger. Because I re-uploaded the podcast photos to include a photo of the show that we're doing. Because every other survival show, we call it like Boys Love and then the show.
Oh, sure.
But for the BLs, it's just Boys Love. So I went in and made like an album artwork for each one. So if you go on your Apple Podcast app or your Spotify, you should see a new picture.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, and those Cherry Magic episodes were like... Yep. Mentioned. This is the real Yowie right here.
That's the real Yowie.
It's, they were like 30, 40-minute episodes, which imagine.
I can't.
We can't because
those
now...
episodes were like 22 minutes.
Yeah. How did we
somehow we talked twice the length of each episode.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I only bring that up to say episode 1 kind of is just pure table setting for the second season.
Totally. It like happened and I was like, wow, nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing happened.
It's just kind of like figuring out like where everyone is.
Yeah. So I was very glad that we are doing it this way, where we're doing 2 at a time. So we are in season 2 now. As RJ alluded to, it does start off. We have a bit of a time jump that's happened. Apparently, in the novels, someone was saying that it like goes straight, like the next novel's the next day.
Oh wow!
Like it's like right after. But
they were not worried. They were like, "I'm picking it up where it left off."
Right, and to be clear, there have been 14 months between the last episode of season 1 and the first episode of season 2 airing. So that's the length of time also for like the actors, the fans, production, da-da-da. So, they are seemingly living together, as alluded to in one of my favorite ways, which is by showing both toothbrushes in the sink.
Classic.
I actually do feel that is a Station of the Cross.
The really?
Toothbrush, yes.
I don't think it happens that often. Maybe in Thai BLs? I feel like I don't notice it at all.
It was in...
I think it's more of like a...
I'm pretty sure there is a toothbrush scene...
I mean, like...
in To My Star. It's very domestic.
Yes, there's a domestic scene. I mean, like we're watching...
It's either toothbrushes or it's cooking when they want to show, like... And they live together now.
Or at least, like, he's here a lot. Because in Your Sky... in the Your Sky of Us episodes, we've seen...
Right.
Well, I seen it. It was in both.
Yeah. So Hira's in his senior year. He has not dropped out of the photo club like he said. He promised us he was going to at the end of season 1.
He says he keeps thinking about it, but he ends up not.
Yeah. He says he stays in it for Kioi. And I didn't understand
I think it's because he wants to, like, make his... Like, to better his skills in taking his photos.
And then, so my computer corrected Kioi as Kayo.
Kayo. Kai.
Ooh,
Kiki wanna Kai.
All right. Meanwhile, Kioi is still acting.
Yes.
He has been
signed. He's been signed.
He's booked. He's blessed.
Uh-huh.
He was cast in a drama in which he dies.
Yes. He is a ensemble actor. He's a company actor. He's getting supporting roles in these dramas.
Yes.
Because the lead is
Anna Gunn.
Yes.
From Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she's from. Okay, so the first bit of like actual whatever is they're going out and Kioi has decided he wants to buy Hida some new clothes because he wants to like dress him up a little bit.
He wants to like show him off.
They're going out to a party.
Uh-huh.
At first we thought it was a costume party, but I actually don't think it's a costume party.
People are just
I think it's
weirdo.
like trendy.
Yeah.
Trendy artists. Here's what I like about the second season so far is that it's very clear that both of them have problems. Meaning, Hida has not, just because they are now together doesn't mean that their problems are suddenly solved because they're magically together. Now, this is where I probably would have preferred them to just pick up right where they left off from season 1 because I hate the idea that for 2 years Hida is still doing this like song and dance of being like, I'm not good enough, because like how do you go 2 years and not address it, which it feels like we're at a point where like Kioi is now finally putting his foot down and being like, you're not a pebble, which we'll get to in a second, but like that I think is interesting to me. I think it would be a little bit stronger if it was like, maybe even if it was like 6 months later or something.
It's still
like
yes, because now it feels like really nothing, like you guys just kept this up for like 2 years or something,
right?
Because it's not like I know he says it's like, because I don't see myself as like being worthy of like being with the king, but like it's getting to the point now of like it gets to a point. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I fell asleep. You know, like, I have to cook and clean for you. I have to, like, actually be a working peasant in this house.
Right.
And it's like...
I think what's interesting is, like, some ways I do feel like there are similarities that he and I have. Call me. But in other ways, I feel like I do not have... I mean, he has, like, no self-worth.
I know.
Which I think is, like... It's tough because...
You know why, right? Like, we know, like, from his child... Like, we know, like, why he's in this place.
Yeah. I think it's, like, easier for me to buy... I mean, he's still in college, so it's not like he's an adult or anything. But, like, there's still a level of, like... I feel like he has not progressed as a character since season 1.
I know.
And I think that was, like... a bit of my, at first, when the season started, and we were, like, getting into it, and I was like, oh, it's really just going to be this again?
Yeah.
And it does end up, as the 2 episodes progress, it does get a little bit more nuanced, which I like, and they don't save Kioi to be, like, a later part of the series. We find out what's going on with him, like they do in season 1.
Yeah.
We, like, get it pretty much from this first episode. And Kioi... his kind of whole deal is like, so far at least, Kioi's fear is like of the change in time. Like that they don't live in amber. Like there is like going to be things that progress and there's going to be, there's malleability that has to happen. And like that makes Kioi nervous.
Yes.
Which isn't obviously the same as like what Hida's thing is. Hida does have this. I do actually really like that there is now, on top of Hida's already kind of like, I don't believe I'm like a human being, basically. He also has this fear of like, first it manifests as being like, you died in the show, I don't want you to talk about being dead, which is very funny. But then it like manifests truly as like, you will leave me.
Yeah.
At some point.
Adam, I just made a connection. Because we meet Anna's fan. And this whole
oh no.
And then he...
Oh no.
And his whole thing is like, I'm afraid that Kioi's going to die. I can't imagine a life without Kioi.
I will say,
I think that's where it's
going. If my beautiful man kills Kioi, I will scream.
No, I think it's gonna be Anna's fan tries to,
because he thinks they're close.
I just while you reminded me that Hira is mentioned that, I was like, that's obviously gonna come back. Oh boy.
So,
but yeah, Kiyoi's thing is that like, basically life is going to keep testing them and things will change and it's not going to be exactly how he wants to. But it's like a push and pull because there are certain things where he wants to change. Like he does like being booked in these gigs, in these chicken shit gigs.
Yes.
But then he also likes booking the chicken shit plays too because he wants
to be adored.
He wants to be adored
by multiple people all at once.
Yeah.
And like, he can see in person.
Yes. But like his management is like, why do you still like doing plays? Like they take forever and no one sees them. In a drama, everyone sees you. You get immediate notoriety and like you're building up. Yeah.
So they go to this party after they buy clothes.
With a bunch of actors and models.
Hina dressed up. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
Just because that whole first season, he just is like...
Frump.
Dweeb.
Yeah.
And now he's like...
Now it's
hot
like...
dweeb.
It's
still dweeb.
It's dweeb, but it's like...
Dweeb.
College artsy dweeby. Very Wicker Park, honestly. Like, no, you could. You don't think so?
I don't believe so.
You don't think so?
It's hard. There's just, like, Japanese fashion is so incredibly specific and minimalist, and we do not do this
our
here.
Hipsters don't look like that.
No.
But there is, like, an artsy vibe that I think the girlies are vibing with.
Oh, yeah. So they go to the party. He starts getting hit on by the girls, and Kioi gets upset because Hira is, like, too...
passive,
he's not like saying say like, no.
Stop, please. I'm with my man.
But
he's
Mama,
not going to do that.
You're the one who wanted to.
You're the one who. First of all, you brought him there. You were the one who wants to like.
You wanted a passive top.
Oop.
And so when he acts like one, now what? Now it's a problem.
A passivo activo, honey.
So anyway, this girl hits on Hira. Kioi gets pissed. They go home after the party. Hira realizes that he like strips Hira down.
Yes, he's like, I need you to take off all your clothes because she touched you or whatever.
Finds the like note she left in his. She slipped in his pocket of her number.
Yeah,
and he's like pissed. And Hira like,
he's like, I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know I didn't. Because even Kioi was like, well, you didn't reject her. I'm like,
Mama, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Say no. That's what we want from you. Be like, oh no, I have a boyfriend. But I don't think he wants that either.
No.
Is my guess.
It's very interesting because in the party, there's a kind of POV focus on Hira still. And like, you feel like the tension is, oh, how is he going to do in this social situation? Because he's talking, there's banter, and then he's like, I have to go. And in the bathroom, he's like, my usual go-tos of like, yes, no, I'm good, thank you, aren't cutting it anymore because now I have to make small talk.
He has to be sociable.
He has to be social now.
Which I do think if that's a secondary like thing that on the season he's going to work on and he has to like come to terms with, that he has to like be a person that exists in a society and has to engage with society. I'm not saying you have to become an extrovert. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like for too long he's hidden fear and at some point he has to cocoon out of his shell like a crab or whatever they do. I think that could be really interesting and fun. So I hope that they're setting the seeds for that now.
I think so. I think there's a scene, there's a conversation that happens later that I think will lead to that.
So when he strips him down in the bathroom, that is when Kioi tells him we're going to do it, which is so crazy to me because also the pronouncement of doing it.
Yes.
So if I hadn't told you, and I'm going to be so honest because it's very clear and it's like basically textual. If I hadn't told you that Hira was the top, at what point would you have realized it?
See, this is my prejudice showing, and I'll admit
this
that.
This is bigotry.
Okay, this is my pretty privilege.
Oh, I don't know.
Not me. No, like me giving Kioi pretty privilege because I assume that he is a top just because he's gorgeous. And I think that, like I said, I have not been reading, even though I have the text.
You have many things you could be reading.
Yeah,
lots of reading to do.
But I probably obviously would have picked it up if I was kind of like reading along. But yeah, I truly just kind of like. I also think it doesn't help that the last thing we saw from a JBL was My Personal Weatherman, where it was very clear that the dominant person in the relationship is Tatiana Boots.
Yeah. We're really mixing it up here.
Yeah. Which is fun. Which now I am understanding, like, at first I thought the shame, there's a bit of shame that Kiyoe has, I think, that I kind of noticed at the end of like last season and like in this episode, like when he starts talking about like if he has a boyfriend or not, he doesn't know how to like handle it or whatever. Now I'm, especially in the end of last season, but now it's connecting to me that like, oh, it's because he would be the bottom. That also I think plays into it.
So after that, after whatever they do, which we are not privy to, unfortunately.
I don't really know what men do after.
I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how.
I'm not sure.
No.
There's this plot line that's going on. It's more in episode 2, but Hida is like actually a really good photographer.
Yes.
And
everyone kind of says it in photo club. It's like, oh, your photos remind us of this one famous photographer.
Right. So they pick up one of the photos. They're looking at it. It's a photo of this tea olive bush with a full moon in the background. And
it wasn't actually a full moon.
And it's not actually the full moon. It's the 14th day of the moon cycle, which is a waxing gibbush. And what is the metaphor? That it's not full. It's not we're
full,
almost there yet.
But it's gorgeous.
But it's growing.
Yeah. Oop. Yeah, that must be the metaphor, Dorothy. Wasn't there a thing? Someone does say something, though, that you were like, and that is the theme of this season. Is that in the next episode? Is that with Anna?
It's in the next episode. I should have written it down. Oh, I did. It's wanting things to stay the same forever.
Yeah, maybe that's the metaphor. Something about the moon is always there. The moon's never going away.
Well, it does go away because when it's a new moon, she's gone.
No, but like the moon actually... It doesn't actually disappear, Adam.
What?
The moon's still there.
What?
It's just we don't see it because it's the reflection from the sun.
Oh.
But I think maybe that's the metaphor, that like it just looks different in certain times of the year, in the month, but it's still the same moon.
I think it's supposed to be that like you can perceive, like, Hida thinks it's funny that people keep perceiving it as a full moon when it is technically just barely a full moon.
It's on its way.
And I do think there's this level of like, Hida's fearful that he's so happy right now with Kiyoe that he is aware that at some point it can all... He almost like feels like they're on borrowed time, that like something's going to happen. The joke of it is that he keep like at the party Kiyoe keeps turning around in these slow-mo wind shots where he's mad at me.
He's mad at me.
He
could
he's
go
gonna
any
leave
second,
me at any second. But I do think that's like the existential crisis of like, none of this is like set in stone. There is constant change, just like the moon.
That is also a very like, a person who does not see themselves as worthy, like has self-worth issues, like it's like, oh, if something good comes in their life, they're like, well, I'm just lucky, or like, this isn't permanent. Like, that's the go-to.
Imposter syndrome.
Yes, totally.
So, as they like hang out and sit in like the wind or in the doorway,
his house
pretty.
is so gorgeous,
it's
and
so
it's
charming.
always so visually like interesting how they like lay on like the opening of this like traditional Japanese house.
Are there no bugs? I really have to know.
Listen, I hear about the cicadas all the goddamn time, and then just having an open house.
I don't understand, because I feel like I watch so much media that do not take place in America, and everyone just has doors open, windows open. Nobody has screens.
Are there no bugs?
Is America the only place bugs exist? Because what's happening? Why are we letting the bugs in? We have come up with solutions to let in fresh air while simultaneously keeping the bugs out.
Away.
So
are there no bugs?
Are there no bugs to worry about? Is my question.
I don't know.
That's all I think about when I watch these shows. When we were watching Kin Porsche and the Minor
family is just open,
all open, gorgeous. Even when we watched, you and I personally watched, what was the Dow off-road show with the
Century of Love?
Century of Love.
Yes, that gorgeous mansion, just open.
Gorgeous house, constantly open. Are there no bugs? Because the house would be crawling in bugs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Are they not?
Yeah, you're right. Maybe
I'm trying to think. When I went and visited your family,
we had doors and windows, and there were lots of bugs.
But you,
okay, when we were outside by the pool where that was just open.
Inside the house, I feel like that house had screens on it.
Yeah, we had screens because there are bugs. That's
but
the thing.
Your
in
house
the Philippines,
in Manila has screens too, I think. I don't remember if we ever opened the windows, though, at that house. It's too hot.
It's too hot.
But this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's the same temperature in Thailand, and they're just like, doors open, honey.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm too American, I think is the problem.
Yeah.
That's all I can think about is like, it's so hot, there's so many bugs.
Yeah.
How do people live in Australia?
I think
the bugs are the size of, like, fists, hands.
Friedrich.
I saw a spider the size of Friedrich.
Yeah.
In a TikTok video.
In a TikTok video, I learned that Perth is like the most isolated large city in Australia because it's like the only major city on the western side.
On the west coast.
Like the closest is Adelaide, which is like on the opposite side, but it's on the like mini coast
Gulf. On the other side of the thing.
Yeah.
This is when, as they lay in the doorway and letting all the bugs come in, this is when Kiyohi says his line of being like, Hira, don't go anywhere. Boo! There is something about seeing this incredibly soft side of Kiyohi that completely reconfigures him in my brain.
Yeah.
Because in season 1, when he like pushes him and when he like gets like kind of violent, whatever, and I'm not saying violence is whatever, but violent, it feels so toxic masculinity, and now I'm literally looking back and reframing it all as being like, Miss Girl, what are we doing?
It's bratty. He's having a brat summer.
The second episode starts, we flash back to this memory of the photograph being taken.
Yes, the olive tea.
Which looks like this was high school.
Yes.
So, they're at the tea olive bushes, and then in Kiyohi's head, you hear him like saying, like, say it already. Just say you like me. I know you like me.
So that entire time in high school, he's like trying to like wait.
That's why he was like hanging out with him.
Yes, he's just waiting for him to just admit that you like me already.
Which honestly, I think back like 2 weeks ago, maybe I said like,
he obviously likes you. Like,
I said I think Kiyohi, like, part of his issue is that he's angry that he likes someone like Hira.
Yes.
But now I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Because I think he was like, I mean, maybe there's still a little bit of it, because he does want him to dress a little nicer, but then at the same time, when he does dress nicer and then he gets attention, he doesn't want him to have the attention.
Yes.
He gets jealous.
Yeah.
Hira's out of ginger ale. He goes to go buy it. Don't know why I included that as a note because it's inconsequential. Because
when he says Hira, don't change or don't go anywhere. What? Nothing. I said I was thirsty, and then he goes,
"Oh yes."
Ah! I'm out of ginger ale, and just bolts.
runs out of the house. Yeah. So Hira does not get a part-time job that he had like applied for.
Koyama is there. He is the chief of the photo club now.
Yes.
And Koyama's like, did they reject you because of your stutter? Which I think like is, and he is like, Hira's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, you're better off like not working there anyway.
Yeah, if they're going to treat you like that.
Yes. Yeah. Which this kind of starts the little like subplot of like, okay, Koyama is still in his life. There is history. They are friendly,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't seem like, no one...
There's no misunderstanding like there was in season 1 where
Yes.
Koyama thinks that they could have something more.
Yes.
It's very clear that
They're just friends.
Hida and Kioi are together, and
Yes.
that's what it is.
Yes. But it's weird, though, because he's like, oh, are you going to go out with Kioi? Like, he's asking him about Kioi, and he's like, what? No. So it's like an open secret that they're together, but like, or maybe Hida just doesn't feel comfortable talking about it to Koyama specifically.
Well, that's what's weird is because later in the episode, Kioi insinuates that he got a bunch of information from Koyama, and he's like, don't talk, like, I want you to talk to me.
Talk to me like you talk to Koyama.
Yeah. I do. We'll get to that.
Yeah. That's because that's the part where I think, like, that's the growing part of the show.
Kioi, even though he has this drama gig with Miss Anna, he does prefer stage plays.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's because he wants the attention. He
Yeah.
wants to bask in the glow of the glory of being on stage. And as the former thespian, I completely understand. There's nothing quite like the gas lamps at the foot of the stage, the footlights, up on your gorgeous face, being applauded from all sides of the room. You know what I mean?
I do it for the gays.
He's an art pop lover. He lives for the applause. Art pop mentioned. He's on set with
Anna.
Hida.
So Hida
has taken to going to sets that Kyoi's in, or like events.
Yes.
That Kioi has to go to
in the same disguise.
Which is like
Popper
Eponine hat,
yes,
huge sunglasses, and then a fan that says "I love Kioi." Great.
To the point where his managers are like, "Oh, there's Mr. Suspicious."
The other fans have named him Mr. Suspicious.
He's a sasaeng.
He's a sasaeng, except he lives with him. He's not a sasaeng. He's just nuts. So Hida at this event meets Anna's. Okay, if Hida's Mr. Suspicious, Anna's fan is Mr. Creep.
Yes.
The vibe.
The vibe is different. It is not lovable creep.
No.
It's
not,
is.
oh, Hida's so charming. There is something, I don't know what it is. I mean.
You know what it is? It's Jodie Foster.
Oh, it's,
John W. Hinckley Jr.
John Hinckley Jr. Yes. Correct.
He attempted to assassinate
President
Ronald Reagan in order to impress Jodie Foster, a queer woman.
Yeah. There is something back to the gender of it all. There is something about this guy being like a creepy fan of a woman.
Yes,
that makes it, that adds to the layer of like,
ooh, something is awry.
I don't know.
He is holding like a little red string, and
they like show it.
Yeah, he's like, he keeps like twirling it on his finger, and he's like, I almost like, basically saying ended my life, but like she
saved my life.
She saved my
life
life
with
her performance, honey.
I feel like do people get this way still about actors? Are people still like this about actors?
Yeah, that like specific performances. Yeah, that's interesting.
I feel like it always happens with musicians, specifically because musicians.
It's coming from like, them. There's like emotive. It feels like
they're bearing their soul to us, whereas like actors are playing a role.
Right.
I'm sure they're still.
What's the closest? What performance is what would be the performance that saved your life for you? Like, do you have one right now that's like, this performance, I could, at a low point in my life, I see like an actual acting performance and it would like revitalize me?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Because I feel like, from what I know about the performances that you like, they're more of comfort watches than like, oh, they give me life.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think like, I feel like I would have more than the average person's understanding of like dramatic structure.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my thing would be like the movie itself.
Yes, yeah.
More than
Rather
like
than,
that
a
actor
performance.
read those lines really well.
Right.
I mean, my favorite actress is Amy Adams. And I think she can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
But there's no... I mean, like, I love her as Giselle, but I don't think that would be like, she saved my life with Giselle.
Yeah.
She should have. She could have. Because I think that performance is incredible. And she deserved the Golden Globe that year. And she deserved an Oscar nomination.
Mine is, if I did have to pick a performance, it is Viola Davis in Doubt.
Oh my God.
That literal 10-minute scene.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. But that's so hard because then I think about like the story and it's like, well, it's more like I'm impressed by the level of
acting. It's like the
prowess
acting, right?
That's happening versus like her. That scene is so crazy.
I know, but I think that's probably like because we studied acting and theater and performing, so it's like I can't see myself being like I'm so lost in the character because I think what this guy is alluding to is that like he believes that she is inhibiting all of her characters.
But I think like there's this energy too that like I don't,
because I could see this in like an idol, right? Like you said, like in a musician, I can see that because I think the musician also carries that persona with them.
You know what? I take this back because I'm sure that I had these. It's not I don't know how to explain it. Mm-hmm. I think I had like something similar like when I watched To My Star, Son Woo-hyun, after To My Star 2, like where I was like incredibly moved. I do think there is something about, maybe this is pure conjecture, but I do think there's something about like, I was about to say no, I've never felt the same way because most of the media I watched like for sure 2022 was not for like gay men, if that makes sense, or like totally. It wasn't for like a queer eye necessarily. Yeah. So whereas like this guy probably watched Anna in some movie and was like she could love me.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas like I don't watch, obviously I don't need a woman to love me, that's fine. And then with men, I never have watched a Hollywood movie and been like, he could fall in love. Like, I have never.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
But there was something about, and I'm not saying that that's what I felt about To My Star 2, obviously. But I do think there was like a new layer that was added because it was like.
When you started watching BL?
Yeah. Where I was like, oh, I do understand why people
I can like put myself in the.
I can put myself in the couple. I can see myself in the couple. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
More than her being like,
see, we got there.
Wow, her performance as Sally Bowles in Cabaret really took me out. And maybe she was great.
You know what? Anna probably did great in that production of Cabaret.
She probably was great.
Yeah.
So they're at this thing. Anna and Kiyomi have the scene where he like kind of opens up just a touch about his private life. Mm-hmm. And this is where she clocks the tea so fast.
Yeah.
And is like, oh, so you're just worried that like things won't stay the same forever. Which is so gag worthy that she came in and said that so quickly.
Yeah.
Because she's
I'm really interested
hardly a character at this point. It's crazy.
I'm really interested in her.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if she's going to like mess things up. I mean, I think there is going to be something that happens with the fan and her. That involves
this fan
Kiyomi,
setup is so clear.
It's really scary.
It's very scary.
But I think that because she's very real so far. She's like, because Kiyomi's like, I only have this role because I'm in your management. Like, we work in the same whatever. Mm-hmm. And she's like, don't sell yourself short. Like, yes, that might be possible, but like, she kind of says like, yes, we know, but like don't.
She kind of admonishes him for saying it.
Yes, he's like, but don't think of it as like a small gig. Like take every opportunity you can get. Right. But then still kind of like, yeah, come hang with me, come talk to me.
Yeah,
it's very. Yeah, it's just if I was in his shoes, I feel like feel the same way as him or like act the same way as him, but
Mhm.
would be immediately relieved that she is able to kind of like, we're all working.
Yeah.
Like this is, yes, like I appreciate the respect, but like we're all doing the work here.
Yeah. I do think I really like I already said this, but I really do like that Kyoi's fear is like things are going to change.
Yes.
Or like, not that they are going to change, but the fear of the unknowing of what the
Yeah.
change would bring
Yeah.
necessarily.
Especially since that's why I think it's really smart having him play as an actor that is, he looks great, he's got fans, so like he could rise. And I think that's probably where it's going. And I think he might like, I could see a conflict in the future of like, do I take like a big break or do I keep the things the way they are because I don't want to lose Hira.
That is 2 star. That's fun, 2 star.
Yeah.
Partially.
Yeah.
So the other thing I like about these 2 episodes in the second season is like big themes, big questions, and then like goofy shenanigans going on as well.
Yeah.
So like the back half of the episode is Koyama gets
Oh, it is Kiyoe clocking tea time for sure.
from all
Everyone. Because Koyama comes in and it's like, oh, so I've noticed, like Hira's having a hard time get a part-time job. I mean, he technically already has a full-time job,
He
right?
says you are freeloading off of Hira, and he's probably cooking for you too,
right?
I'm
He's
assuming you
cooking
don't
and
cook.
cleaning. You don't do anything. Yeah. So,
Cooking clean soup.
and cleaning your loom.
Yeah,
Oof.
it's a gag. It's really a gag.
Kiyoe fully is like, no.
He gets angry, and then he's like, "No, he got my ass.
He got my ass.
He got my ass.
I
Damn,
know.
damn." Have you seen SYBAU?
I feel like I'm that one TikTok.
It's used similarly to STFU.
Shut your bottom ass up.
Bitch ass.
Oh, because I was about to say, I mean, we are seeing, I feel like I'm watching National Geographic because we are seeing 2 bottoms like
Yes,
sizing
in the
each
wild.
other up.
Yes.
Being like, oh, yeah.
This scene is so funny.
It's great.
And
I
so
loved
he
it.
but like this is what makes Koyama genuinely what I find him so fascinating as
I
a
know.
character. Because
He's understanding.
he writes down a recipe to give to him to like cook.
Yes.
So he does do this bit of being like, I don't think you're good enough for Hira, but then like,
let me help you because
let me help you to become one because I still
I
care
still
enough
care
about
for him.
Hira
Yes.
to want him to be happy.
But you know what he does? Not write any detail.
No, he writes a Paul Hollywood technical challenge. from-
Reduce the sake. Add the spinach.
Also, Keely, you have a smartphone. You can just look up what these terms mean.
Watch
if you don't
the
know what reduce means, just Google.
Fold it in, David.
Just fold in the cheese, Dave.
Fold what?
Can you show me how to do it one time? So he makes the food, or he attempts to make this hot pot meal. He
pours a full bottle of sake.
He pours a full bottle of sake and just boils the spinach and pork in the sake.
That's it. That's all he did, you guys. That's it.
When they uncover that meal,
the pork was white.
It looks like, you know what it looked like? And it took me forever to like figure out what the word was, and then I remembered. It looked like what I imagine, as someone who's never eaten them, intestines look like. Like I was like, it's so grody.
Yeah.
He tries some. He immediately is like, this is bad.
The spinach is gritty. This is just sake. And
Yeah.
obviously, Hira, first of all, walks in, is like gagged.
That he
Kiyoe is like,
cooked.
come here. And he's like, wait, I have to take my shoes off, blah, blah, blah. He's so gagged that he cooked for him. And it's so funny because he's like, the nectar of the gods.
Yes. The grapes
The
on Mount
grapes
Olympus.
of Mount Olympus. Dionysus has given us the feast. It's so funny. And Kiwi's like, shut up, it's bad.
There is something, obviously, it's mostly played for laughs.
So good.
But there is something so incredibly endearing about the way that, would it get exhausting
right.
if you treated me like this? No.
No.
It would be fine with me.
I need a Koyama to come in here and be like, oh, so RJ, I can't even say cooks and cleans because I don't do that either. We live in filth.
You should see what's on the other side of these
bugs.
We got bugs. So at the very end of the episode, Hira calls himself a pebble because again he's doing this like you're big and you're not even big and strong. He's like you're better. You're just literally superior to me in every way. And Kyoi's finally like, you have to stop. You have to stop with this.
Yes, finally.
After 2 years, Kyoi's finally going to say, hey, enough's enough. Ganug.
Yeah. Finally, he gives some constructive feedback because he's like, apply yourself into this maxi challenge.
Yes, that's the other thing. So Koyama's like tried to get him into this like apprenticeship, basically, or a contest. Yeah. Another contest.
Now it's his turn.
Mm-hmm. And so at first he's like, well, I don't want to do it. And then finally, at the end of the episode, Kioi like tells him that he has to do it because
I want you to be an actual photographer in the industry so you can take photos of me.
Yeah.
So that I can have gorgeous headshots so I can book.
Yeah.
Classic love story.
I do think that there is
it's
like
sweet,
a real
right?
charm. There's a real charm to the thing of
the
like
simpleness of, or the naiveness of how they kind of describe what they want.
Yeah. And like Kyoi's a little drunk. The blush in the episode is
I know.
Chef's kiss.
It's kind of comical because like you pan over to him and all of a sudden it's like
yeah. Also, he's like had a bowl of
sake.
Okay,
that's the end.
That's the end of the episode. This is off. We are out of control today.
Uh-huh.
Okay, MVP.
I mean, I'll give it to my bratty bottom, I guess. Now that he's been named in my eyes.
Great.
Actually, shout out to Anna.
I was gonna say
shout out to Anna clocking the T.
I do think, I'll give it to. You know what? I'm not gonna give it to here. I'll give it to Koyama. Because I really liked that, like, that kind of dance.
Yes.
Him and Kioi
totally.
in the second episode.
Loved it.
Love that.
Love.
But I do think, this is like a really strong performance from Kioi in these 2 episodes.
Totally. Hira, I think we're slowly building him up that he's going to do something very heroic or something. Whether it's the fan thing, whether it's the photography thing, like something is going to turn the tables where he has to like stop being a pebble.
I think he's that, and I think it's going to come at the expense of like, he's going to be met with his fear and he's going to have to overcome the fear. So like the fear being like, Kyoi's going to leave him. How will I survive?
Yeah.
He's going to have to learn how to survive in some capacity, and then he's going to be not like, oh, I don't need him, but like, oh, I am more than I thought I was.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, join us at patreon.com/boyslove on our BL lover tier, or on our combo tier. You can join the My Beautiful Man reactions over there. We're currently also watching Tempo, Heart That Skips a Beat, and just about to wrap up Your Sky. And then we're going to be starting a new poll for that BL.
Mm-hmm.
And then over on the Idol Days, we're watching a new BL called Boys to Planet.
Mm-hmm.
So join us over there. Adam, thank you so much for joining and talking about My Beautiful Man Season 2 with us.
RJ, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye, bugs.
Get those bugs out of here.
Presented by AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.